Officials with the USDA make a stop in London. What plans and goals community leaders have for the area. And what is Amendment 1 on the ballot? We'll tell you what it is and also what it could mean for the General Assembly.
Plus, even warmer weather is on the way as we head into the end of the work week. The very latest on how warm we get coming up as Mountain News at 6 starts now.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 6.
This afternoon, the U.S. Department of Agriculture Undersecretary was in London meeting with various Eastern Kentucky leaders and distributing $478,000 in community and business investments. WYMT's Olivia Coffey has more on where that money is going.
Community leaders sat down on Wednesday with the USDA Undersecretary Xochitl Torres-Small after granting thousands of dollars to various Eastern Kentucky communities.
The Biden-Harris administration's focus on Rural Partners Network and how we can work with people living in rural places to develop their dreams, to invest in their plan.
Small says it was great sitting down with leaders in these communities to learn where this money is going and the impact it will have.
Whether it was talking about affordable housing, whether it was talking about creating jobs, whether it was talking about investing in new markets. There's clearly a lot of great plans here, a lot of resiliency in the wake of the recent floods, and a lot of dreams that we're proud to be a part of.
The Kentucky Highlands Investment Corps received a nearly $100,000 grant on Wednesday for rural business development. Sandy Curd says if Eastern Kentucky is not strong, the individual counties won't be strong.
Let's help out the Breathitt counties, the Lee counties, the Owsley counties. Let's help out Pike and Floyd and those until we are all economically not distressed. We can't stop, and we have to collaborate and help as much as we can.
Small says she loved hearing stories about these grants, helping beyond their individual counties.
The mayor of Pineville talked about a local project, and then I heard him say, and it's really become a regional project. Everyone's got a piece of it. We're talking across multiple counties about how we can all plug into this goal.
Investments benefiting businesses and communities across Eastern Kentucky. In Laurel County, Olivia Coffey, WYMT Mountain News.
The U.S. Department of Agriculture for Rural Development supports rural areas with less than 20,000 residents, providing various funding such as low-interest direct loans and grants. Right now, the U.S. Small Business Administration, or SBA, is offering one-on-one assistance for people impacted by flooding in mid-July. Now, it's for business owners and residents affected by the flooding on July 13th and 14th. In Kentucky, Virginia, and West Virginia. The Virginias were affected most by that one. They are eligible to apply for low-interest disaster loans.
So those business owners who were affected had physical damages from the flooding in July. They are eligible for up to $2 million to repair and replace their real estate. And also, if they are a major source of employment, that $2 million cap can be increased.
Homeowners and renters in Buchanan County are eligible for up to $200,000 to repair or replace damaged real estate. Renters or homeowners can get up to $40,000 to replace their personal belongings, including cars. The SBA is also operating a disaster loan outreach center in Buchanan County to assist anyone applying for an SBA disaster loan. That outreach center closes permanently tomorrow at 4 p.m. However, the deadline to apply for assistance via mail or online is December 19th.
Well, our western sections are starting to see a little bit of clearing out there this evening, and we'll continue to see much nicer conditions as we work into tonight. Here's the look from our several areas. London Corbin Airport, the sun is out, at least right now, as those clouds continue to thin. 66 the current reading there. 63 in Hazard, still watching some overcast, and still overcast in Pikeville with maybe a couple of sun breaks out there at this hour. Low to mid 60s all throughout the region, even upper 60s in some spots. Manchester, Middlesboro, Jacksboro all at 68. That's really not rain falling. That's just some virga, as we call it. Rain falling, but evaporating before it hits the ground. You see it's not really reaching the ground there on Pinpoint Doppler. Last of this system finally pushing out during the evening. And overnight, we're looking pretty nice as we clear out down into the low to mid 40s as we finally finish up all the things. Latest on when we return to some sunshine in a few. Steve?
Now know the names of those involved in a deadly crash in Knox County last night. Kentucky State Police say 81-year-old Thelma Ash was in the back passenger seat of a Kia Soul when a 2011 Chevrolet Equinox pulled into its path on US 25E. Ash was pronounced dead at Barberville ARH a short time after the collision. The driver of the Kia Soul was 42-year-old Stacy Ash. She and another passenger, 68-year-old James Ash, were all airlifted to the University of Tennessee Hospital for treatment. The driver of the Equinox was 32-year-old Bridget Mills. A 7-year-old was also in the Equinox. Mills was flown to UT Hospital as well. Officials say Ash was not wearing a seatbelt at the time of the collision. The person that was killed. Drugs and alcohol are not suspected at this time. Black Mountain and Everett elementary schools in Harlan County were placed on lockdown this afternoon. It was the result of what the district is calling a domestic incident. Officials said the incident started at Everett Elementary when a woman, who officials say is the victim, came to the school needing help from school police officers. School officials posted on social media that the alleged assailant had indicated to authorities he was going to get his children from the Black Mountain School. Now, the lockdown was lifted just after 2:30 this afternoon. A high school baseball coach has been indicted by a grand jury on charges he showed a sex video to underage members of his team. KHSAA's website has Alex Hamilton listed as the Breathitt County High School head baseball coach. Court documents show he is facing 1 count of tampering with evidence, 2 counts of video voyeurism, 3 counts of tampering with a witness, and 6 counts of distributing obscene matter to minors. We do not know exactly what the contents of the video were, but documents say he also tried to delete the evidence off his phone when law enforcement tried to acquire it. One Laurel County man accused of robbing a bank earlier this year is now facing federal charges. Late last month, a grand jury returned an indictment against 35-year-old Sean Fox of Corbin. Police say on September 27th, he entered the Community Trust Bank branch in North Corbin with a pistol and demanded money. In the indictment, we found out he ended up with more than $5,000 when he left and took off in a Honda Civic before switching to a Ford pickup truck. He was later arrested in Knox County. He's now being held at the Laurel County Correctional Center, but is being transferred to the custody of a U.S. Marshal who will take him to federal court in London on November 21st. In less than a week, voters will decide on 2 constitutional amendments, one dealing with lawmakers calling themselves into a special session, the other on abortion rights. Kelsey Soto sits down with the political science professor at the University of Kentucky to break down the less publicized Amendment 1.
Many Kentucky lawmakers want to add language to the state constitution to be able to call themselves into special session and set their own agenda for topics discussed. This Republican-dominant legislature wants to check the power of balance against a Democratic governor. 36 other states already have such power.
One reason Kentucky's legislative branch is so weak compared to in other states is that they meet for a very short period of time where they're always in a rush. They can't really set policy in a deliberative way, because they're rushing to get to the end of those short sessions.
There was significantly more campaigning and funding of advertisements for Amendment 2 this election season, which relates to abortion rights. Dr. Stephen Voss, an election and voting behavior specialist and political science professor with the University of Kentucky, says those efforts may make it tricky for voters as they head to the polls.
Amendment 1 is possibly going to get caught up in the publicity campaign, the backlash, especially in favor of abortion rights with Amendment 2, because a lot of the voters coming in to oppose Amendment 2 are just going to come in to vote no on everything.
The measure would also add that laws, except general appropriations, take effect on July 1 in the year the act was passed, or 90 days after it was approved, whichever is later.
The argument that Amendment 1 is an attempt by legislators to get more money is just not a credible one. The per diem is about $166 a day. You're talking, even if the full session, special session gets called, $2 grand. which is not that much compared to a salary in the 60,000s.
Voters will get their chance to weigh in on the lengthy 154-word ballot measure in next week's midterm election. In Lexington, Kelsey Soto, WKYT.
Another question will be on the ballot for voters to decide. As Kelsey mentioned, it's Amendment 2, and that would add a line in the state constitution saying it does not protect the right to abortion. The group Yes for Life says it would give courts less room to strike down restrictions. Pro-choice groups say it would damage civil rights and health care. Governor Andy Beshear has ordered flags to be lowered to half-staff in honor of London police officer Logan Medlock. Medlock died Sunday morning after allegedly being struck by a drunk driver. Officials with the London Police Department say a benefit fund has also been established at Cumberland Valley National Bank. People wishing to donate can visit any branch and ask for the Courtney Medlock Benefit Fund, or you can call 606-878-7010. In addition to his wife, Medlock left behind a 5-year-old son. Services for Medlock will be handled by Bowling Funeral Home. The visitation will begin tomorrow at 5 p.m. at Corinth Baptist Church. The funeral service will be on Friday at noon, also at the church. We plan to share the funeral home's live stream of the service on our Facebook page.
Well, looking ahead of the forecast, we got some downright late spring feels out there late this week. The full breakdown on when it'll feel like May on the way. Plus,
as temperatures turn cold, you may be tempted to turn up the heat. We'll have some tips on how to save money on your electric bill this winter. And the Mountain Arts Center celebrates 25 years. We talked with one employee about what it means to reach that milestone.
WYMT News app offers alerts on breaking stories as they happen.